Right guys, welcome back to Rad's Retreat, my little home of wood turning. Been sorting wood out in my workshop slash shack slash shed. I've cherry picked a few pieces that you may not have heard of before, or maybe have heard of them but you haven't seen them before. We've just dealt in the previous video with the right hand side, so we're going to take a look at the left hand side in this video. So let's get started, shall we? First up, what we got here? Amazique. Amazique goes by quite a few different names, Amazique being one of them. It's quite a splintery wood. You do have to be quite careful when you're handling it, otherwise you will get skewered by the splinters. And the splinters, if you don't get them out, do go septic quite quickly as well. I know that from past experience. It's an 8" by 8" by 2" piece. I've never turned Amazique before. Well, actually that's a lie. I've never turned a bowl before. I've turned it for spindle work, and to be honest I wasn't right impressed with it. It wasn't nothing special, you know. Sorry about that. My Yorkshire slang kicking in there. Note when I mean nothing. So there we go. That's Amazique. It's quite a hefty wood, quite dense, but quite splintery. Next up is quite a favourite of mine. This stuff has got a really weird name. This stuff is called Goncalo Alves. Now, how it got that name, I have no idea. I have a theory that it's got something to do with the early conquistadors that conquered Central America, South America. Maybe the guy that found the wood, you know, called it. Maybe his name was Goncalo Alves. Could be, you know, possible I suppose. But look at the end grain. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. It's like a gingery red brown colour with these dark, almost black streaks running through it. It's a fantastic wood. Some pieces of it just look average, but then you'll get a piece like this with those black streaks running through it. Can you see it now? All the way through. Beautiful piece of wood. That is a nice piece of wood. That is going to make a lovely piece of work. It's not very cheap anymore. How much did I pay for this? £12.50, and that's about 7 years ago. So £12.50, call it £15 now for that piece of wood, which actually isn't that bad. I expected more. Right, let's get started with the spindles. First up, here we go. This is a nice wood. If you've ever turned it before, African walnut. It isn't actually one of the walnut family, but it's just called African walnut. It's a lightweight wood, but very strong. It's very easy to turn, and sometimes you can drop on a piece that's got some very dark gum lines, like very hard, you know, hardened gum lines going through it, and it can look really nice. So really nice wood is that. So it's a very nice wood for making wood turning tool handles. I've got several made out of this stuff and it looks brilliant. Right, next up, this is West African Pau Rosa, 1.5" by 24". This is a nice wood also for making wood turning tool handles. Depending on how much effort you want to put into it, you can polish this up like glass. I've got a spindle gouge in my workshop that's made from this stuff, and I really went to town on it. I think I sanded it up to about 2,500 grit, wet sanded it with oil and wax, and it looks fantastic. Probably went a bit overboard like, but yeah, it's a really nice wood is this, and it's not expensive either, or at least it isn't in the UK. It's West African Power Rosa. There's also East African Power Rosa as well, but I prefer West African Power Rosa. It just seems to have a bit more reddy colour in it, if that makes sense. Right, here's a wood you may not have heard of. This is a dense, heavy wood, quite splintery, quite coarse grained, called Munanga. Sounds as though it comes from Africa. I'm not sure where it does come from, but with a name like that I would imagine it's Africa. Very dense, very heavy, very nice, but quite coarse grained. Right, next up we've got a piece of wood which you will have heard of, or I would have thought you've heard of it. This is a nice big piece of bubinga. This is 2 inch by 2 inch by 24 inch, and it's got some of the sapwood still left on it, which is nice. If you can make a piece where you include the sapwood to give it that contrast from the red of the heartwood, looks really nice. There we go. White balance is going all over for some reason. It's supposed to be locked, the white balance, but it still drifts around. It's a nice piece of wood, is that? Right, here's another piece you may not have heard of. Kayak. Kayak. I've got a tool in my wood turning workshop with a tool handle made from this stuff, and it's very nice, but again it's quite coarsely grained, a very splintery wood, but once it's polished up it does look nice. You can see the sapwood there and the heartwood here. It's not a bad wood, it's not very dense though. This is another wood. This is a hard, heavy, dense wood as well. Missander. Another African sounding wood. Whether it does come from there I'm not sure, but it sounds like it does with a name like Missander. Again, quite coarse grained, but very heavy. I haven't turned any of that yet, so I couldn't tell you how it turns. Another wood, this is Vambona. This is a wood that quite a few of you won't have heard of before. Now I must have turned this because it was 24 inch long and now it's 18 inches long, so I must have made something from it. I think I made a finial from it, and it actually turned really nice, polished up really nice. So it's quite a dense wood, but again quite coarse grained. So be careful whilst you're handling it that you don't get skewered by a splinter. Right, lastly we will finish with another wood, Pangapanga. There's some strange names for wood, isn't there? Pangapanga. Never turned it, so I can't tell you how it turns. It looks very, very coarse grained actually, if I can show you a close-up of that. That looks really coarse grained, but some of the coarser grained woods can polish up really nice. Can't tell you how it turns. I've never turned it. As I said, most of these spindles I got from a place that was closing down, so I got them at a ridiculous price. Sort of just got a job lot, But there was all hundreds of different types of woods that I'd never heard of before, even though I've been turning over 10 years now. or woods I'd never heard of before. Pangapanga, never heard of it before. So there we go. Right guys, that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you've seen some woods that you've never heard of before. I enjoy making these videos and I hope you enjoy watching them. So with that, I'll bid you a fond farewell, and we'll get this back into the workshop tonight, hopefully. I don't think my mum will be very impressed if I leave it on the kitchen table. Right, catch you later guys, take care now. Be careful in your workshops, watch your fingers, eyes and lungs. Take care now, bye bye.